If you define yourself as an empath, or even if you don't, which is fine, do you feel like you have to please everyone? Do you avoid expressing your own needs because you don't want to burden anyone? Do you always say yes because you're afraid that if you say no, people won't like you or they will think you're a bad person? What if I told you that there's a way to free yourself from this heavy mindset in a way that will not only make people respect you, it will transform you into a life that is lighter and more fulfilling. In this video, I'm going to show you how to have the courage to be disliked and feel good about it. Hello, I'm Angie, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. I make videos about living authentically and unapologetically. Please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I would be so grateful. So let's dig into this some more. As an empath, chances are you hate being disliked. Empaths want everyone to like them. They are people pleasers. But if you want to move ahead, if you want to achieve anything that's great or noteworthy, if you want to make your mark in the world, you have to be comfortable with being disliked because it will happen. When you become truly present, there will always be people who won't like you for whatever reason. And for an empath, that's typically not easy to accept. Being an empath is not a superpower, but more of a self-preservation mechanism. We're hypersensitive to emotions and energies around us. We can pick up on the slightest gestures, and we literally feel the thickness of air in a room. We are super tuned in to people's moods and body language. And this ability to feel others' emotions can be something that you are naturally born with, or it can stem from some form of trauma, abandonment, or neglect, especially in childhood. Some of us came from emotionally intense households where we learned how to feel out situations, and this evolved into a sixth sense where we trained ourselves to fine-tune in to others as a form of self-protection. We hardwired ourselves to think, if I make everyone happy, I'll finally feel safe or accepted. And this mindset stayed with us in adulthood. Having empathy is different than being an empath. Empathy is a natural human trait, but being an actual empath carries more intensity as you have the ability to absorb other people's emotions as your own, so much so that you think they're your own emotions. And that's why for a lot of us, being in a crowd is draining and exhausting, and we have to put on an emotional shield when we're in that situation. Because of our trauma, we also tend to be people pleasers and non-confrontational. We want everyone around us to like us, so there is no conflict. But this way of thinking just cripples our own personal growth because, and this is important, you're not really free until you're disliked and you're okay with it. This really hit home with me a few years ago when I defended my fiance at the time to a narcissistic individual, and they immediately set out to discredit me socially. I had two choices, actually three choices. I could have gone on defense to discredit them. I could have cowered to them, apologizing, hoping they would like me again so they would stop the nasty rumors. Or I could dismiss them and move on, knowing my truth and refusing to lower my level to theirs, my self-respect intact. Admittedly, when it happened, I wanted to do one of the first two choices. I truly hated that people who didn't know me had this negative opinion of me because of the lies being told by this person. But I didn't give in to those, thank goodness. I decided to let it go and move on and live my truth with no regrets and no guilt. Over time, people learned the truth about this person and they ended up losing a lot of respect. I didn't have to do a thing except be authentic to myself. I have no hard feelings about it. In fact, I'm actually grateful this happened to me because it taught me a very valuable life lesson. Once you are disliked and it doesn't bother you anymore, you are released. You are free from the inner shackles that once bound you. Empaths absorb energy. People pleasers give away energy. You put those two things together and you've got a person who's constantly running on empty, but still trying to refill everyone else's cup. In order for an empathic person to evolve in mind, body, and soul, we have to accept that we are not responsible for what others think. We are not responsible for other people's tasks. Our task is to be in our own frame, to manage our own self. And as empaths, we don't want to upset other people. We don't want to rock that boat. We want to be everything to everyone. And when we try to manage what everyone else thinks of us, we end up exhausted. We end up disrespected, and we end up not being authentic to ourselves. It never works out. When we aim to please everyone, when we try to merge into whatever someone else wants us to be, we are literally dismissing ourselves. What other people think of us is not our job. It is not our task, nor is it our responsibility. Our responsibility is being true to our own self, being authentic and self-respecting. One of the most powerful things you can do as an empath is to free yourself from what other people think and to accept the fact that if someone doesn't like you for who you are, that is their problem, not yours. It is not your job to worry about what everyone else thinks about you. Because the most magnetic, interesting people are those who own themselves 100%. When you can finally step out and be authentically you and stop caring if you offend others, that's when you become empowered. Because when you're true to yourself and not acting fake, even if someone doesn't like you, they will respect you. Constantly caring about what others think, constantly feeling like you have to fake it and be someone you aren't, or not stand up to your own convictions is exhausting. It is soul draining. And that's not what we are meant to do. We aren't meant to please everyone. Think about it. If you have 10 friends with 10 different opinions, are you going to please them all? Nope. It's impossible to make everyone happy. So just focus on making yourself happy. When you're authentic, the right people will come to you. When you learn how to draw the power from inside yourself, that's the game changer. Having that awareness will level you up and you will feel it. It will change your life. It will create self-confidence where you never had it before. You will start to naturally attract those who belong in your tribe. The right people will flock to you, and the wrong people will move out of your life. And that's what you want. When we can learn to set those boundaries, we tap into our subconscious energy, that empowering feeling and that joy of knowing we are being true to ourselves. We have nothing to hide. We have become who we are meant to be. And we're no longer afraid of what people think because we know our own truth. From this, we can begin to heal. We no longer let our past trauma define us or define how we act. Once we have released that tumor from our soul, we have freed ourselves from our past and we transform into our true self, unafraid and empowered to be who we were always meant to be. I hope that somehow this has helped you, especially if you're an empath who struggles with being authentic to yourself. What are some of the personal struggles you've dealt with? Please feel free to share them in the comments. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day. Chat soon.